Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel today. Now, as you know, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 did come out this week. I did have some time to do some hands-on multiplayer on it. I did play some of the zombies and some of the other modes. I will give you guys a little bit of a review on it, mostly on the multiplayer aspect of the game. Now, this game has had a rocky launch, guys. There's been lots of stuff going on with the multiplayer skill-based matchmaking aspect of the game. Also with the single-player campaign and the sales figures and stuff like that. We're going to dive into all this and let's get the video going.
It was just the beginning.
Menendez already caused enough suffering. That's not gonna happen again. Let's take it to him.
They want to peek behind the curtain. Let's show them what we got. They have no idea who they're dealing with.
There is no escaping me.
Now, we'll start out with the campaign here, guys, and this campaign looks really weak. I believe they just mailed it in. They really don't care about the campaigns anymore because they don't generate revenue for them. Most of people playing this are playing for Warzone or multiplayer zombies now. So I understand it, but really it wouldn't kill them to do another good 8-hour campaign or something like that. Something like Modern Warfare 2 or the original Modern Warfare, you know, the original Black Ops games. Those campaigns were pretty good. They put some thought into the storytelling. You know, some of my favorite would be the two Modern Warfare ones, the original ones. Just a good storyline, and it felt like a very down-to-earth sort of military type game. Now, a lot of the campaigns had those Michael Bay type movie moments in them, you know, where it was a little outrageous, and that was okay, but I think the fans would prefer a more grounded approach to these. What you'll see in some of these video clips of the new campaign doesn't make any sense to me. It kind of looks like something you'd see in God of War or some sort of game like that where you're fighting some sort of Titan god or something. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why they would put this in the game. And I think at this point they're just running out of ideas for the campaigns in general in these games. They really could just go back to a normal first-person military type shooter, and I think it would be fine. Battlefield seemed to do okay this year and stuff like that. So, you know, it is what it is. Another huge issue with the single-player campaign is that it is online only. You do require an internet connection, and as the saying goes, you will own nothing and be happy, and this is exactly what this is. You can't pause the single-player. You can have people jump into your single-player game via Xbox or Sony PlayStation. I don't know what their thinking is with this. I don't understand why you put a single player campaign in and it's online only and you have a chance of other people coming in and spoiling your game. You can't pause it. You know, if there's a game update, it will literally just crash the game and kick you out to the main menu. I really don't get why they would alienate a huge part of their customer base with this. Now, again, obviously their bread and butter is in multiplayer and stuff, but still, they could throw a bone to the community that likes the single player campaigns. Heck, I used to like them. They've been dog shit the past 10 years. But before that, they were pretty good. So the game did get panned. There are a lot of users on X, Reddit, Steam forums that say this game is full of AI-generated slop, which it is, guys. You can have a look at these calling cards and all this stuff, and you can definitely tell it's been generated with some, you know, Chat GPT or something. It looks like the Ghibli style. This is not something I'm really up on, but it definitely has the exact same style. And some of these you can see they have extra fingers or there's something just wrong with them. You can tell that an art designer did not make these or even look over them to make sure they should pass a quality control test. And again, this just comes back to them mailing in the entire process of these games. Now, don't get me wrong, from what I've played in the multiplayer, it's not too bad. I will do a review of that, guys. I'll put it up on the channel later this week. It won't be something that's hugely in-depth, but just my casual gamer analysis of it. As for all the AI slop in the game, Activision did release a statement in August about the game and where they're going. So I'll read you this little clip here, and it does read, "We live in a world now where there is AI tools. I think our official statement we said last year around Black Ops 6 is that everything that goes into the game is touched by the team 100%. We have generative AI tools to help us, but none of that goes into the game." I call bullshit on that. He also goes on to say, and then you're going to say, yeah, but it has. I'll say it has by accident. And that was never the intention. We've come out and been very clear that we use these tools to help the team, but they do not replace any of the fantastic team members we have that are doing the final touches and building that content to put in the game. So everything you play, human created and touched. AI tools in the world we live in, it's how we do streamline it. That's really the goal. Not replace, but streamline. Okay guys, this is absolute bullshit. You can't tell me that an artist touched any of these renderings, and there is a ton of stuff that goes into this game that is AI generated that a human hand has not really touched. I doubt they have even skimmed over it. So him to come out and say it like this is very disingenuous. Really what he's saying is, we're going to use this stuff. We don't give a fuck about what you say. We need to answer to shareholders. We can cut staff by doing this. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other developer jobs they can cut by using AI and generative AI. So we will touch on the gaming reviews for this. Now, this is not a surprise here. You have to take all of these scores with a grain of salt, whether it's from professional critics or the average gamer or anyone online. Now, anyone can really put a review in here, and reviews are predominantly negative for a lot of games. So this game getting a 1.6 from the average person is probably a little low. I'm going to say it's probably in that 5 range, to be honest. But the fact that the critic reviews are in at 84 in this game, I really don't think that's, in the realm of what it should be. Now, this reminds me of Dragon Age, Veilguard, and all these other games. Now, these critics, they know who greases their palm. They could probably lose access by giving these horrendous scores. And as they say, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. However, this game does not deserve an 84. And I definitely don't think it deserves a 1.6. I think there is a middle ground there. But again, I don't know why these game critics can't just be honest with the game and be like, yeah, the campaign is ass. The zombies is so-so, the multiplayer is pretty good. There's no way in hell this game should have an 84, guys. It's absolute bull. So we'll quickly touch on the player counts for this game. Now, if you go on the Steam charts, you will see that it is very low. It's getting obliterated by Battlefield and Arc Raiders. And some of this is justified and some of it isn't. I'll explain why. Now, there was a deal, I believe, on Battle.net or one of the other services that had this game at 10% off. So I think a lot of the Steam players probably migrated to there. As for being on the Xbox, the true numbers on there, good luck ever finding that out. The PlayStation numbers are probably coming out. Now, this game, will it sell well? Yeah, of course it will. It's a Call of Duty. But I think they have seen that good quality shooters can knock this down a peg, and I think this probably did get knocked down, guys. As I said, Battlefield and Arc Raiders are hugely successful. Kudos to Arc Raiders for being not a AAA studio, putting this game out and being so successful. And Battlefield has been poking fun at Call of Duty. I really think Battlefield kicked ass this year. I personally have not had a chance to play this, but it looks like a game that I actually enjoy. It's one on the list I got to get to. I just don't have time at the moment. Doing a review for Call of Duty and the Outer Worlds 2 is taking up most of my time here, so I don't have time to delve into that. I will do it after Christmas, though. But all the doom and gloom you see from people on YouTube and online about the sales of this, don't necessarily believe all of that. Just because the Steam numbers are low, there's a whole different myriad of factors why that is. So it'll be interesting to see when the sales come out. Now, you have to remember, this game being on Game Pass costs a ton of sales, and it costs Activision and Microsoft a ton of money. I believe it costs about $300 million with Black Ops 6. I would expect to be around the same line for this, or maybe even more. So at some point, I believe you will see Call of Duty not be on Game Pass, or Game Pass is going to get even more expensive. Sucks either way. Now, a huge problem facing the franchise in general is just fatigue and gamer burnout. Now, I've noticed this myself Basically, the past 2 or 3 titles I've played very little. I have played them. I've more so been playing Warzone and stuff like that when I do jump on. The multiplayer just feels stale, and I think there's a few reasons for this. One is the recycling of these old maps, and while some of them are awesome and I love playing them, at some point you do get tired of playing Shipment every year. You get tired of playing Nuketown every year, or every other year. You know what I mean. We play these maps so many times they do get boring. Now, I don't mind them bringing the odd map back into a game, and then they did it again with this one. The maps do flow well. They seem pretty good. And they have to walk this fine line of making a fresh experience but keeping the same formula. You know, that gunplay has to be tight. It has to be that 60 frames per second, that quick snappy control that you're used to. That was one thing I will say about Call of Duty, that anyone can pick it up and play it. Anyone can pick it up and be fairly decent at it. Battlefield, you know, totally different. The gameplay is good, but the gunplay is just not as tight as Call of Duty for me. That's one of the reasons that while I've played lots of Battlefield, I just don't quite enjoy it as much. Now, we do have an article from Rick Lane, and we'll go over it, guys. The headline here is, Senior Treyarch developer says he'd be dead lying if he claimed not to be worried about series fatigue with Call of Duty Black Ops 7. The article goes on to say, Call of Duty has proven itself highly resilient to series fatigue. While the quality of each entry has varied wildly for at least a decade, its overall popularity hasn't been in serious doubt since Call of Duty 4. Perhaps this is because Call of Duty is so culturally omnipresent it would require active effort from Activision and now Microsoft for it to fail. But the series has also demonstrated a knack for evolution, introducing new settings and new multiplayer modes in response to changing tastes. Nonetheless, it seems concerns about series fatigue are beginning to seep in, at least over at Black Ops handlers Treyarch. When asked about the issue, Charlie Intel via Eurogamer, Treyarch's senior director of production Yale Miller responded, I think the honest answer is yes, I worry about that. The reason for this relates to how Call of Duty's release schedule has changed over the past few years. Typically, Call of Duty has alternated between different settings with each new game, rotating between Modern Warfare, Black Ops, and World War II, with occasional diversions into futures such as Infinite Warfare and Advanced Warfare. Since 2022, however, Activision released 2 Modern Warfare games in sequence, followed by back-to-back entries in its Black Ops sub-series. So the fatigue is real, guys, even though this is still selling well. Like, I know myself, the 2 Call of Duty Modern Warfare games pretty much the same, and then the 2 Black Ops games are basically identical. But you know what I mean, Black Ops 7 is basically Black Ops 6.5. They've just reskinned everything a little bit, up-res the graphics, and pushed out a new game. And that was probably their way of saving money, basically making one big game, cutting it in half, and then you get Black Ops 7. Now, like most of the big publishers now, a lot of these games are just not hitting very well. Again, they use so much AI in these, there's no flavor to them anymore, guys. They're just money printing machines at this point. Now, like most other big publishers, Call of Duty has fallen prey to this as well. They are basically just putting out similar bland games every year, much like Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed. There's no flavor to these anymore. They just change the setting a little bit and put in some new stuff. But really, the games are not that great anymore. However, in my opinion, the fact that they did go out of their way to remove or scale back skill-based matchmaking in a playlist set, I think that was a right first step into righting this ship. I know personally from playing multiplayer, while I don't really like the setting that much, the lobbies are a lot more varied and it doesn't feel like the exact same game over and over and over again. And that's what it's been like for me for Call of Duty for the past number of years, guys. Just not a fun experience. Every map, you're sweating your ass off. I've found with this that if you play, you can have a different varied experience. Sometimes you get your butt kicked, sometimes you won't, sometimes you'll kick butt, you know. I do believe they did pretty good on this. The map design, pretty decent so far. Now, what can they actually do to improve their standing in the community and actually turn it around, kind of like how DICE did with Battlefield this year? We'll say, make a good, grounded military campaign. You know, if you come out with Modern Warfare, how can you not make a really good campaign for that? It doesn't have to be like 20 hours long. You know, you can make it a standard 6 to 8 hour campaign. but make it like the old ones, man. Make it like Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, where you're rolling up in Humvees or the Little Birds and you're jumping out, and it just seems like a classic grounded military shooter. That's what I liked about them, and I think a lot of the casual gamers like that as well. I honestly think the best thing they can do is get some new leaders in these studios to kind of take over the reins and maybe make these games go backwards a little bit, kind of like how Battlefield did. You know, that game reminds me of Battlefield 4, and that was one of the best ones in my opinion. You know, if you kind of dial this game back and take it back to the golden age of COD, you're going to have a winner and you're going to sell tons of copies. You'll bring the old players back, and I'm sure the newer gamers are going to like it too. It's not rocket science. And on that note, if you guys have liked the video, please comment below, or in general, just let me know your thoughts on the game. I'd be really happy to hear from you. Please like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate all of you guys. And if you are playing the game, try to have fun with it the best you can. I will see you on the next one. Peace.